The following program is brought to you with limited commercial interruption.
Today's broadcast is being simulcast in broken English.
I'm here to show the world. I'm here to show the world.
Welcome to the show that we're doing right now.
What the hell are we doing on this show?
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
It jumped up a notch.
It did, didn't it?
Let's go.
What is this?
Giggity, 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 goo.
Who else but
The Q.
it's showtime? Gentlemen, let's get down to business.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Yeah, I can dig it, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Qnow. You're listening to the best pop culture, current events, current affairs show east or west of that Mississippi River, hailing at the great city of St. Louis and worldwide at theqnow.com. I am your host, Mark Bland. Man, this show is exciting, and I am always excited to be joined by our co-host, my co-host, Mr. Jason Call. Oh, there it is again.
I was running in.
Damn it. You were so close.
I was running in
You were
at full
so
speed.
You were so close to
Everyone
being
just heard
on
me
there.
close
No,
in on the
I
mic.
think that's our gag now. Is every time you say hello, the first
Yeah,
one is
I'm way
always
far
like
away.
dead. Yeah, you're always far away.
I'm running.
Donald Trump has some more bad indictment news, so we're going to talk about that. We got a racing coming up, so we're only on for an hour today, Jay. I hope you know that. Okay.
Hey, people needed their racing.
And energy drinks are the rage now. Kids are not doing well when it comes to them. We are going to talk a little bit about that. But how's everything going with you here, sir?
It's going great.
This is the Qnow. You are listening to us on 1280 AM KYRO, News Radio, KYRO.com every Saturday, 1 to 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, unless NASCAR or the Chiefs or something pops up.
Getting to that time.
We're only on for an hour right now, which is fine. I don't mind.
Who's coming back?
We got things to talk about. And the main thing that I think that everyone wants to talk about, Jason, is probably our friend Donnie Trump.
Just keeps
You
getting
know?
indicted.
He just
Right.
cannot stop getting the indictments. Fannie Willis proposes that the trial start a day before Super Tuesday next year. That's right. Prosecutor wants Trump trial in Georgia to start on March 4th, 2024, as the cases against former President Trump pile up in an election year. It shows how Trump's pile up of cases will interfere with his campaign plans. She also wants to the arraignments to take place on the week of September 5th.
Yeah.
Which is just coming up. Trump faces 13 charges, including a RICO and 71 years in jail. Jason.
Right. He deserves it.
The indictment charges Trump and 18 others, among them Rudy Giuliani, his former personal lawyer, and Mark Meadows, his former chief of staff. It is Trump's fourth indictment, and he claims that it is an attempt to derail his 2024 presidential campaign. Now, we all know that it has to do with the 2020 presidential campaign.
Everything
and
he talks
election.
about.
Like, it literally, the kid who couldn't. It's like the guy who peaked in high school. Like he peaked in
Right.
peaked in 2016, and he's
Like
been
guys I
losing
went
ever
to high
since.
school with, who it's always 1987.
Right. So 2020 was a date that he couldn't get beyond.
No.
2020 is where he's stuck forever.
It's his public humiliation. You know, everything else he's been able to control the narrative, everything that comes out.
Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis asked this past Wednesday for former President Donald Trump's trial on charges to be on trial on charges he tried to overturn Georgia's election results to start on March 4th. She made her request in a court filing 2 days after the indictment indicting Trump and 18 co-conspirators. Trump's lawyers are certain to push for a delay. The date is only weeks after the U.S. Special Counsel Jack Smith's proposed trial date of January 2nd for another case related to the 2020 election loss and clashes with scheduled March start of another trial in New York. And it comes a day before Super Tuesday, Jason, the busiest day in the Republican presidential nomination race when 15 states and one U.S. territory pick their favorite candidate.
All right, and it'll be him because those people are insane.
Two things that we got to consider as this develops, Jay. Okay. Now, number one, under Georgia law, bail can only be granted if the defendant can affirmatively prove that the defendant poses no risk of intimidating witnesses or otherwise obstructing the administration of justice.
Yeah, wrong.
Trump will have to prove to the judge that he poses no risk of doing either of those things. Well, that ain't going to happen.
No.
Otherwise, the judge is forced to deny bail and remand the defendant. The judge has wide latitude so he can or she can decide the level of actual risk. Also, Jason, under Georgia law, the governor does not have the power to pardon criminals.
That's true. I
There
heard
is
that.
a pardons commission,
Yes.
but the insurance of pardons is highly regulated and not left into the hands of politicians.
And is it on there about the time to get a pardon? You have to do your time. So if you get convicted, say this RICO charge, which is minimum 5 years, whoever gets convicted will have to serve 5 years or whatever they do in
And
Georgia.
then they get
then they get a pardon. You have to do your time first. You can't get a pardon like while you've been like during your sentencing and you've been convicted,
But here's what we really need. We just need Trump to go away.
right?
Like, literally, that's all everybody wants. For Trump to just go away. Stop talking. Just go away. Just be
Right?
done.
Let these,
Like,
release
literally.
these people from your hold on them. They're ridiculous. They look silly. They sound silly. I wouldn't doubt that. Say this scenario happens. So he can't prove that he's not going to intimidate witnesses because he's going to go on True Social and mention them by name.
Of course.
What if they remand him to Mar-a-Lago or whatever destination he chooses? No electronics.
Oh, see?
I almost think they do that. Like,
you
because
know
he's
what?
a risk.
You know what? I don't know how that would work.
Right? I mean, if I'm a witness in that and I'm walking down the street,
At
these
what point-
lunatics are going to attack me.
At what point do these people, like, I know there was a joke going around on, what do they call that social media? What is it now? Like,
Oh.
can I call it Twitter?
No, you can't.
I mean, I
do
can.
you see where everything's
but
a
if
post?
you go to twitter.com, that's what X is. So
Yeah,
it's
it
Twitter.
turns
It's
to
still
X.
I'm sorry, it's still Twitter. It's still Twitter.
But everything's a post now. Do you notice that? It's not retweet, quote tweet. It's quote post, repost, and you post things. You don't tweet it.
Oh, I guess. I don't
Yeah.
know. I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
I'm not really worried about it. Dude, so this situation with Trump, okay? The Georgia charges are far different than the federal charges.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because of the lack of control Trump could have on those proceedings, even if he regained the presidency. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
they can't touch it.
If any case might make Trump, he'd probably bolt the country.
Of course he will. He'll go to Russia or North Korea.
He will. He'll bolt
This is gonna
the
be
country.
the craziest movie at the end because he's going to flee and go to one of these countries the day after the election or that night. If they like he's lost, like 370 to something, he boom gone. Next day he'll probably ditch his security detail.
And by the way, everyone out there,
Or get a
I
couple of
know
lunatics to
you.
go.
We love you here on KYR. We love when
Yeah,
you
we
listen because we love to give you information. Information is important. I can't stress enough how important what I'm getting ready to say is. Mm-hmm. It's as important as that Poison shirt you're wearing there, sir.
It's awesome.
Very important.
What a great
information.
album cover.
Guys, ladies, boys, girls, Trump supporters specifically. They have the payment records for the voting machine breaches. Stop it.
Right? They're on camera
Stop
walking
it.
in there.
Wow. Like they've got the payment record for the voting machine breach.
Right? Calling people, telling them to give you votes.
Oh, my goodness. Mark Meadows sent by text to Georgia's chief investigator. Is there a way to speed up Fulton County signature verification in order to have the results before January 6th if the Trump campaign assists financially? That was a text sent by Mark Meadows. He asked if getting the now, let's be honest, speed up signature verification does not mean altering
No.
the election by any means. It means helping with the process of counting or speeding it up before January 6th. Okay? Now, that would cost money, but campaigns specifically cannot pay into something like this.
No.
This is definitely ethics violation right here.
They're
hardcore.
They're just the worst people. It's almost like they never thought it would be
they're
investigated.
effing stupid is what it is. They're
right?
just the most stupid idiots.
What was it John Oliver called it? Stupid Watergate?
Stupid Watergate.
Right? It's like Watergate, but dumb.
Here's the thing. I know it's 2023, okay? I get that. And it's really weird to think that you and me I'm just a few weeks away here. What is today? So what is it, the 18th? 19th?
19th.
Today's the 19th?
Yes.
Okay. So if today's the 19th, then I'm just a couple of weeks away from Labor Day. And that means I'm getting ready to finish my summer off, and it's fall of 93. Or 93, 23.
Yeah.
It's fall of 23.
Yeah.
It's fall of 23.
Unofficial
Like
fall.
we
It's
are
the unofficial end of
literally,
summer.
ladies and gentlemen, me and Jason have been talking about Donald Trump since 2015.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Second he came down as Golden State.
It's now literally almost been 10 years of talking about this man, straight up. And here it is. We are 3 years into the Biden's presidency.
Yeah.
And we are still talking about Donald Trump and problems with Donald Trump and things that Donald Trump does that are just the dumbest, most moronic, and they just are the most dangerous things. And we just keep talking about it, Jay.
He's gonna have his presentation of his election report on Monday.
He can have the presentation of whatever he wants. At this point, what I said earlier, I think stands to reason the best. Just go away.
Yeah. Well, don't these people realize they're literally having money stolen from them? I mean, Mike Lindell, how many conferences has he had to show the evidence, and then he never does anything, and people leave confused, like, well, I don't know why he didn't do it. Like, these people are either so brainwashed, they're in a dangerous territory, or they're just stupid. Because take your pick.
I feel, though, that things are kind of starting to unravel a little bit in society.
You mean like he's losing people?
No.
Oh,
you
mean society like...
I feel like there is certain things that I remember from our past.
Yeah.
And the difference is the last time they popped up in our world. Certain websites, certain things that are coming across my social media feed. Like, the last time these things popped up, people weren't vocal about it. They were more shocked a little bit
like
by the things.
Every now and then you'd catch a guy saying something outlandish. Now it's like every post has a comment or some guy just says something really off the charts.
So you remember that time period when Spike TV was pretty popular?
Yeah.
And, they had like Amish Mafia or whatever it was. Like crazy.
World's craziest endings to police chases.
Everything was always something like that.
Criminals getting beat up.
Right. But that was on TV all day long. And
Yeah.
then like if you switched over to the other station, it was Jerry Springer, or it could have been Steve Wilkos at that point in history.
Didn't they had TNA too, right?
Right, sure.
So it was all super.
But my point being, my point being is that time period in history, that like 06, 07, 08, leading into Barack becoming president. It was very ruthless aggression.
Right.
But this time around, it's like everyone has picked up a torch to run with, and they are emotionally involved, and it is starting to show out in society.
Right.
People are being a little less kind.
Yeah,
I'm starting to see people being a little bit more willing to watch fighting or allow fighting or to see arguments.
Right. Well,
to see people being bad or doing things that they shouldn't.
I mean, people younger than us are old enough to remember a time when an election happened and people took their signs out of their yard when it was over, regardless of who won. They didn't then go get a flag of the president who won and put it out in front of their house for the next 4 years. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's like...
Yeah.
That's
but it's different times.
Dictator type stuff.
Different. But see, once again, that's not America.
Right.
That's just happening in America, and it's actually this dictator stuff like we're talking about. And here's the funny
here,
thing.
but yeah, it's like there's two parallel
Let me
Americas.
ask you a
at
question,
the same time.
Jay. What happens in your world if Trump does get reelected? What's your viewpoint?
I just think stupid wins, and we're in very dangerous territory. We may leave NATO, and if that happens, that world's going to go to crap.
Well, also, we do have the most powerful military, but if we left NATO, that would leave us open pretty hardcore.
Yeah, we wouldn't have any backing for anything.
Yeah, well, especially over in Europe.
Someone could shoot a rocket at us.
There would be no help for us in Europe.
No. I mean, he's just so bad. And the people that he'll have at this time around will be the worst of everything. They will be like last in their class because everyone else, he's already had the best he could ever get, and he burnt them. And then he got the worst, and then the worser, and then the worstest ever. And now he's at the bottom. What he is now, he's a strip club in a small town at 4 a.m. when you've been through 7 better ones.
Try that
and now you're in the 8.
Try that in my better small town. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break here on the Q Now. When we come back, we are going to talk a little bit about the rise of some energy drink stuff as well as some other stories. We'll be back on the Q Now right after this. $12:80 a.m. KYRO. Mark Bland. Q Now. Jason Call sitting over there.
Paul Simon.
We love Paul Simon. Who doesn't love Paul Simon?
Right? Why would you hate him?
There's no reason to hate Paul Simon. Of all the people that you could hate in the world, music-wise, there's a lot of worse people than Paul Simon's, the Peter Gabriels, all those mid-'80s.
I've never heard a bad story about him.
Mean machines. No.
Him like being a jerk to a fan or something. Like I've never seen that ever.
Youngsters are downing ultra-strong cans of Logan Paul's Prime energy drink that each contain 200 milligrams of caffeine, Jay, equivalent to 6 cans of Coca-Cola.
That's crazy.
Coca-Cola. Influencers like Logan Paul have shilled for the drink, and it's been sold to kids. It contains 200 milligrams of caffeine, equivalent to half a dozen cans of Coca-Cola. The students have reported health problems from consuming the beverages. Elementary school children are guzzling down the huge amounts of caffeine as the cult beverage Prime Energy has started to crop up exponentially across social media. The energy drink has been promoted by YouTube stars KSI and Logan Paul and contain roughly the equivalent of 2 cans of Red Bull, 2 cups of coffee, or an astounding 6 cans of Coca-Cola. Despite the amount of caffeine, Prime Energy is sugar-free and similar ingredients to the likes of Gatorade, with promoters floating them as healthy alternatives. As all of them are 0 sugar or 0 calories, said beverage analyst Jim Watson of the PepsiCo's Celsius Live Fit and Prime Energy to the New York Times. They're going for the healthy image. Prime isn't even the most caffeinated. Bang energy drink has 300 milligrams of the drug caffeine. The drinks have already been banned in schools across the United Kingdom and Australia. Federal law bans schools from selling and providing caffeinated drinks to elementary school or middle schools, but does not ban them from such drinks at bringing such drinks home. From home, so the kids can bring them to school and drink them at school. But dude, where are you at on energy drinks? You first off, I still am a huge fan of Monster Energy, the original green Monster Energy. I love the flavor of. Then I loved Assault, so I loved some of these things, and I know what that world's like.
Yeah.
Where are you at on energy drinks?
I used to love Red Bull.
Were you a Red Bull a day kind of person?
Not a day, but I know if I ever saw that little Red Bull truck out, I'd swing by it and grab me a couple free ones.
Really? How does that work?
They have that little Red Bull truck. That's
Yeah.
got the Red Bull. It's actually like the back end's like a Red Bull can.
Okay.
There's usually like 2 chicks dressed up in Red Bull gear, and they hand out Red Bulls.
Oh, really? I did not know that.
If you ever see that around, pull up by and be like, "Hey, you giving out Red Bulls?" But then I started reading up about Red Bull and seeing cardiologists doing, writing
stuff like that. Yeah,
writing op-eds.
And we're older
showing
guys, exactly.
And I was like,
about this.
I'm not doing that. Like, cardiologist said, just rips apart your heart. It could just kill heart function. It's not worth it.
I had to stop because of my diabetes. I noticed that when I would run the Red Bull, it would jack my sugar levels, and I started to get jittery at times. So I said, no.
Well, even if you went the sugar-free one, you still get all the caffeine and stuff.
Well, and here's the weird thing. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, and shh, I need everybody to listen. Shh. I even got to turn Jay off. Shh. Hear me out. Just hear me out for 1 second, okay? You ready? I did this. Shush. Here we are. Anything with no sugar in it tastes like hot ass. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. I'm sorry. It tastes horrible. Listen, I can have the regular version of a Mountain Dew, or I could have a Mountain Dew zero sugar. Now, there is no way that when my lips taste a Mountain Dew with zero sugar in it, I'm ever going to go, hey, this is close to... Nope, it would never happen.
That's
now,
not a good one.
I will say this. There are some drinks that are closer than other drinks and some that are more palatable than others.
Yes.
I've always been a little bit more of a Diet Coke person as opposed to a Diet
Coke's not
Pepsi person, okay?
Yeah.
I've also been a big proponent of the Diet Pepper, Dr. Peppers. I like the Diet Dr. Peppers.
I like the zero sugar more than the Diet.
But see, that's my point. Like, I think that the Diet is half the sugar, if not more than half the sugar, and the zero is just zero sugar, but I can't see why the zero sugar would taste better. Also, Coke Zero, where it's zero sugar, right? Why have Diet Coke then? If you have Coke Zero sugar, then there's no reason to have Diet Coke. Why have Diet Coke? What's the point of Diet Coke?
Yeah.
Diet Coke doesn't serve a purpose.
Yeah,
if I
Pepsi does
can
that
get
too.
zero sugar or zero, I'm going to just get zero.
Yeah. Would they have a Mountain Dew Diet and a zero?
Right, but that's my point. If I have to choose between a Diet and a zero, I just get a zero. Like, I'm not going to get a Diet.
You're right. Mountain Dew Zero tastes like barf.
All of it tastes like crap because it has no
that
sugar
one tastes
in it.
like
Listen,
a flat Mountain Dew.
I am only going to be on this earth one time. No, hear me out.
It's true.
One time. And yes,
Not wrong.
I am not going to sit there and tell you that I am not playing with fates. Of course I am. Everyone is playing with fates every day with the different decisions. And this man over here was doing it for a while with Red Bulls. Everybody chooses their vices.
Yeah.
I smoked cigarettes for a long time.
It's true. Not anymore, though.
I do love cigarettes. I'm not going to lie. I do love cigarettes. They're delicious to me. I love the flavor and the taste. I don't smoke anymore.
You do not?
And if I wanted to have one, I could easily smoke a cigarette and be fine. Not have to smoke all the time.
Yeah.
But I do like the taste and flavor of cigarettes. I smoked for a long time. I also enjoyed taking the breaks. Stepping outside for 5 minutes to kind of like chill out. And I wasn't even bad. I knew people that every 15 minutes they are outside smoking a cigarette. I swear to God. I know people in my life right now that are outside every 15 minutes smoking a cigarette.
That's crazy.
And it's maybe pushed to every half hour, only if they're busy for some reason.
Right.
Outside of that, every 15 minutes, they're outside smoking a cigarette. I was never that bad. It might be one cigarette every hour and a half to 2 hours. Like, I was not a smoker like that. It would take me a few days to get through a pack.
You were
Never was.
through one.
I was never a chain.
Pack
Now,
and a half a day.
did I have time periods where things got a little bit stronger? Yeah. It's been a long, long time since those days. That was the early 2000s, like 2001, 2, 3, 4, that range right there. I was smoking probably, I would say, getting through a couple, maybe 3 packs a week. Smoking up to 3 packs a week. You know what I'm saying? That's not a pack a day.
Bad, really.
That's not a pack a day, but it's not great.
Yeah, that's actually not that bad.
It's not, but I got a lot better in the 2010s. I can tell you that because of the diabetes. But on top of it, like, I love that taste of Monster. I love those
It did have an
flavors.
interesting
and
flavor.
that you need the sugar. I'm sorry. Listen, like I said, I'm only on this earth one time. I'm going to enjoy things while I'm here. I'm not going to shortchange myself. What's the point, ladies and gentlemen? Yeah,
True.
you could have, listen, you also could have been born and got cancer and died at the age of 2. There are people who have died at the age of 2 years old from a horrible sickness or disease or whatever it is.
Ugh.
You know what I'm saying? It's sad. But you could have been one of those people too. You weren't. So what's the problem? chew the bubble gum out of the old 1970s pack that you just bought of Topps baseball cards. Why not? Just do it.
Right? Eat that.
Chew it. Chew the gum. Why not? Try an old whiskey. Open that old bottle up. Eat your favorite cupcakes. You want 3 of them? Eat 3 of them.
Yeah.
Why not? Listen. I'm not trying to promote an unhealthy lifestyle. What I'm trying to tell you is within reason, don't kill yourselves over this stuff, but enjoy your life. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to just get a Jack and Coke with regular Coke. It didn't have to be Diet Coke. Doesn't have to be Coke Zero. Just a regular Jack and Coke. Enjoy it. And yeah, watch yourself. I got the diabetes. I can't just go around just eating glazed donuts and drinking hot chocolate syrup.
Oh, man.
That would kill me. That'd kill me in a week.
Too bad we couldn't, right?
But it doesn't mean I haven't enjoyed glazed donuts with some chocolate milk in my life.
No.
It's happened before.
Of course.
I know exactly what it tastes like. I indulged and tried those things. Don't be afraid.
That's tasty stuff.
I'm just saying, as you get older, don't be afraid. What have you got to lose? The life that you're already losing every day and minute that you're alive?
Yeah, might as well do it eating a donut.
You might as well do it eating a delicious donut that you want. You should listen to me, America. I'm serious. You can follow me on Twitter at Mark Bland, MarkBland. Listen to me. I'm telling you guys what's up. America needs no Donald Trump. You should just enjoy the things that you enjoy on a day-to-day basis. Don't rape, murder, or pillage.
Yeah.
Don't kill. Please. Try not to cuss if you don't need to. It's not necessary, but if you got to cuss, fine. Go ahead and cuss. It's a free country. We're not going to hold it against you because you cussed a little bit. We're not going to be mad at dinner because you cussed at your table while trying to tell a story. Cool. No problem. Now, if you're just sitting over there saying the F word back to back for half an hour straight, yeah, that's a little excessive. Duh. Duh. But anyway, energy drinks. Bad for our kids. I have not promoted my kids to energy drink. Now,
no.
My son has asked multiple times to get Prime energy drink, and he wants to drink it.
Yeah.
I will not allow energy drinks for him at this age. He doesn't need energy drinks.
You could trick him and give him the Gatorade one. There's a Prime that's kind of like Gatorade.
I'm just saying he doesn't need energy drinks. Yeah. There's no need for energy drinks.
No,
what you guys are getting caught up on is flavor. You like certain flavors. And Monster Energy and Red Bull, they have flavors. And you like the flavors.
No caffeine, no sugar.
You know what I've never understood? Alcohol. We've talked about this on the show before, but alcohol tastes like crap.
You got to put it in something.
But think about it. Like grain out, just regular alcohol, whether it's whiskey, bourbon, scotch, vodka, it doesn't matter what it doesn't matter what it is. No alcohol tastes good. Even wine has a pungent, tart, or certain type of taste to it, no matter. I'm just saying, all of them have a flavor that is not what I would consider palatable. They're always tart. They always have a tangy, a tart, a sweet, or this or that. Like they're always some, but they're always bad tasting. All alcohols taste. Beer does not taste good.
Remember all the gross liquors we had to drink when we were
Mad
younger?
Dog 2020
right?
did not
That's
taste
what I was going
good.
to say. Mad Dog 2020,
but
Night Train.
None of that tasted good.
No.
Colt 45 never tasted good.
Do you know what
Hurricane,
I remember?
Hurricane.
What I remember that did taste good?
What?
Do you remember Matilda Bay wine coolers? The Matilda Bay brand? They were Australian?
No. They didn't taste good. Even those.
Oh, they did.
Wine by itself, because there's alcohol in it, has an altered taste.
Well, they put all that fruit
it.
flavor in it. That's what got
But
you.
I'm not going to lie to you. There have been some nights where I threw myself back some Bartles and James.
Right? Those weren't bad either.
Remember the old guys, the two Bartles and James guys from in the 1990s, all those commercials? Right? Oh, my God. Mine blew my mind. We were talking about kids, and did you hear about the Missouri situation where your kids, if they skip school, the whole can now be sentenced to prison? Parents whose kids skip school on a regular basis can now be sentenced to prison under new Missouri law, with a mother handed 15-day jail term after her first-grade son was absent for 13 days.
Oof.
The state Supreme Court upholds schools' discretion to decide yet a reasonable attendance means. A quarter of the state's students attend less than 90% of the time. Okay. So a quarter of the state doesn't even go to school.
Yeah.
That's how Eric Schmidt's getting voted in. That's why Nick Shore has
They're not
a
paying
job.
attention, yeah.
That's how Josh Hawley was elected at all.
Well, they prey on him, man.
But 90% of this 25%. So think of 25% of the total students in the state of Missouri. I don't know. We got probably 3.5 million people that live in the St. Louis area. Maybe something like that. Somewhere close to that area. And we probably 1.5 million of those are like children or people between the ages of 5 to 18 specifically.
Yeah, at least
I'd
a
say
million of them.
like 1 million to 1.5 million.
Yeah.
Okay. So a quarter of that
And then keep going further
doesn't
out.
even attend to school. So we're talking 250 to 300,000 kids.
Right? And that's just here.
That's just in the state of Missouri.
No, that's just probably this.
No,
area.
that's probably just St. Louis. Yeah, that's
they
the
go
St. Louis.
out to Kansas City.
Kansas City's probably got about the same amount.
Yeah, at
it's
least.
probably like, so we're talking 500,000 there. We get down to the Boot Heel and we to the other side of the state. We're about another 100 to 150,000 each. So 300,000 on top of that. You're talking about 700,000
Right.
kids.
You're gonna put 850,000 men or women in jail.
Maybe. No, not that much. You're talking, well, I said 300,000 plus.
Well, because if they put like both
Quarter,
parents or just one
did I
parent-
put a 250,000 here or 500,000?
Yeah, 250,000.
I put a 250,000 here plus 300,000. So that's 500.
550,000.
550,000
You probably
kids.
gather another 50 from Columbia and Jeff City.
Sure.
you know,
But that's what I'm saying.
areas.
500,000 kids don't attend school
On a regular basis.
90% of the time. On a regular basis,
Yeah.
like every day of the week. Okay. Those people become voters at 18. Those people are easily swayed. Ladies and gentlemen, we got to take a quick break here on the Q now. When we come back, Mark Bland, Jason Call, we will have more fun here on KYRO. We'll be back right after this. $12:80 a.m. KYRO. The Q now. Mark Bland, Jason Call, hanging out on this Saturday with you. We've got NASCAR coming up here in just a few minutes. And we've been talking about a bunch of different things over here. Trump's indictments. I am no longer with MMWA Wrestling,
Yeah.
Jason. I just
That's
wanted to
stuff behind you.
relay that to everyone. I had a blast working with the organization. I feel that me and the Kings of Revolution definitely made an impact the way that we felt necessary to make an impact. So everything regarding MMWA in my life is fine. And I appreciate the opportunities bestowed upon me, but on to other things now.
Moving on.
We're moving on.
Up. It's like George and Weezy.
We are the young Kings of Revolution are well on their way to handling their business the proper way that they've learned from me. And maybe someday down the road, we all reconnect in some form or fashion. But as of right now, I am not with that organization. So
Should head
that
over
is-
to AEW. They need help.
I should go over to AEW. I guess I could
There's a
go over to
mutiny going
AEW.
on. There's a real life mutiny going on behind the scenes.
I don't even think it's a mutiny.
It's like a real-life storyline.
I don't even think it's a mutiny, though. I think it's just he's letting them kind of just handle
Do whatever he wants.
his own end of it the way he wants because he's trying to not have to pay out an exorbitant amount of money on a failed contract situation. And he knows that this is just a fractured situation that cannot be put back together.
I don't even
But he's
want
got to
him.
get his value out of it. Hey, listen, if anything, this CM Punk thing, I don't talk about pro wrestling stuff on the national scene much anymore, but this CM Punk thing, it should be an eye opener for the WWE and others.
Yeah.
Like, you guys need to watch out. Be careful who you like to saddle your horses up next to and work with. I'm not against CM Punk.
No, he seems like an okay guy. I don't know,
I've known Phil for a long time.
Seems like a jerky guy, though. It could be either one. You never know what you're going to get. If you catch him on a good day, if it's his first time you meet
He's
him.
what I would call an ornery person.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the TV show Justified?
Yeah, it was some of it. I know it.
It's got Timothy Olyphant as the star.
He's a sheriff or something, right?
He's a marshal, U.S. Marshal, Raylan Givens. That character and the honoriness of him reminds me a lot of real life Punk.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of honoriness to it. But yeah, I understand what you're saying there. There's some other things that happened this week, Jay. Some interesting things. Michael O'Hare wants $15 million from the family.
Right.
He says really wasn't that involved in his story the way that they claim.
They came out with some BS statement, but never once have they answered the question, did you have him sign a conservatorship? Or did he agree to an adoption?
I thought we found out that it was a conservatorship.
That's what he's saying in his filing.
Well, no.
I just haven't heard them admit
I think other news stories have now run down that information because they were able to sunshine. Well, they probably sunshine lawed for that. And
I haven't heard them admit to it yet.
But here's the thing: they're not going to admit to it. But listen. I explained this to my wife. She goes, this doesn't make any sense. And I go, it makes perfect sense. You see, whether it's a conservatorship, but when we hear the word conservatorship in 2023 in America, we think of Britney Spears.
Yeah.
And when we think of Britney Spears, we think of the bad side of things, right? So we think of it in a negative, bad way. But hear me out. If they did go and pose it for a conservatorship, right? But they just came to him and said, yeah, we adopted you.
Yeah.
Okay. He just thinks that he's adopted. Now, anytime paperwork needs to be presented, they can present the conservatorship paperwork. They look at it and they go, okay, that this person is legally bound to you.
Yeah.
Now, the person who's reading it sees that it's a conservatorship, but they might not recognize that either. They might think of the information because
he didn't
unless you're dealing with those documents on a day-to-day basis,
and he was like 16.
You might read that as a security guard and be like, oh, yeah, conservatorship. That sounds like foster child care, things
right? They're in charge of me.
They all sounds like you're in charge of somebody. So that's the adoption papers.
Yeah.
Okay, so these people are legit. He, as the kid, he's getting treated good by the family. He's got a roof over his head.
No,
he's
that's
not
true.
gang. So he's not questioning it. Mom and dad are always treating him good.
Yeah.
He's got a good life and relationship with them.
Yeah.
And the things that did happen in the movie are happening. So if you're him, you're just a young guy who's gotten a situation that's great going for you. And then on top of it, you got drafted into the NFL. Even better. The problem is, once the movie side of things got involved, it was when they decided to tell the story. Listen, guys, he played for the Baltimore Ravens. He's got millions of dollars. He's fine. He's not hurting for money.
You would think
this
so.
is him wanting what he said was rightfully his.
Yeah.
He should have had money that he got from his own life story.
Well,
he's saying because of this conservatorship and because of the way that this was scheduled out, they were able to take that and funnel it in a different direction, which is fraud.
Yeah. Well, I would like to hear them explain. Why didn't you just adopt him? Why did you do this?
Yeah.
Why did you make it a conservatorship instead of an adoption?
That's a great
or why
question.
didn't you do both?
Well, and here's the funny thing. How much of that did he really know? He might have known about the conservatorship aspect since he was in college.
He said he knew this year, February of this year.
Well, and he probably did.
Because he's been questioning it for a while in his head. He decided to finally find out, and someone investigated, and then he filed a court. I'm not even sure what he's asking.
But here's the thing. If they have him under a conservatorship, there is paperwork for that.
Yeah.
And that paperwork,
legally, they did nothing wrong.
And by the way, that paperwork has to be updated at times.
Yeah.
So there's probably copies floating around of the most recent time that it had to be updated. And that's probably on a computer in somewhere, wherever they live.
Yeah.
I don't know where they're at. Washington, D.C., Tennessee, wherever it is.
I think
They'll have that stuff on a computer somewhere there. But here's the thing. If that document exists with those signatures, then that's it.
I mean, it's unethical and it's super
Michael
shady.
Michael O'Hare at that point will have a civil case, where he can go get his money back, or at least attempt to.
Well, at least get him on the stand and make them admit to I told him we were adopted and we didn't. He's gonna get some money from them.
Deceiving a movie company and things like that. Now, obviously, movies
wrote
are.
a book.
Listen, nowadays, you could just literally argue, oh well, obviously it's a movie. Movies are made up anyway, so this works out great.
Yeah.
But that's not the point.
I had jokingly attacked Sandra Bullock on Facebook, jokingly saying she had to give her Oscar back. But I've seen people in real life, really, and I don't think they're joking, talking about the actors, like Tim McGraw and Sandra Bullock somehow had something to do with this.
Right,
It's not
exactly.
their fault. They did a movie.
Hey, Jay, I met with a young man by the name of Brandon.
Yeah?
And Brandon is the head of a network called the Variety Sports Network.
Ooh,
it's a podcast network that does a lot of sports shows.
Ooh, I like sports.
And they've got Mizzou, and they've got the Blues, and they got a bunch of podcasts for different, even small colleges and stuff like that. They've really built up. And I had a great meeting with him, and I'm hoping, if everything works out, maybe we can get Brandon on the show.
Yeah, we'll talk some
to kind of talk some
radio
sports with him. That would be fun, would it not?
That would be fun.
I think it would be. Have you paid attention to the Steven Crowder situation?
I mean, I did back when
Okay, all right.
the video of him being a total
right.
jerk to his wife.
Okay, so it's only gotten worse, dude. His last video only had 9,000 views. It's getting so bad for him.
It's quieter with Crowder, I guess.
It's quieter with Crowder. Not so much. What else happened this week? Oh, Madonna. That's right.
Yeah,
She
she's
turned
like 1,000.
65 years old, ladies and
Right.
gentlemen. Woohoo for
Way to
Madonna.
go, Madonna.
Happy birthday. But here's my problem.
Remember how cute she was?
65 sounds old.
Yeah, I don't know.
To me, when I start to hear a
Depending on
person
what you're
say
saying
that
they
they're
do.
65 years old, when you tell me you're 65, I start to think about grandpa years. I start to.
She's got it. Is
I'm
she
not
a
saying
grandma?
it's 85.
She's got older kids.
I'm not saying it's 85, but 65 is up there.
Well,
you
it
could
might
be
be-
a grandma by 65 easily.
Might be too old to be writhing around singing like a virgin. That might
For
be a
sure.
little weird. I wonder if that's cut out of the set list. Have to look
I
her
just
up.
find it weird. 65 years old.
Yeah, right? I remember when she was
Does that
desperately
mean
seeking
she,
Susan.
Does that mean she was 30 then?
Well, let's see. 84, I think, was Desperately Seeking Susan.
And
I think
that
her
would-
first album came out in 82, so let's
Okay,
say 41
so-
years. So, yeah, she was 23, 24 years old when she first hit it.
Okay, all
Borderline and
right. Yeah, it's just been that many years that she was
Material
just that
Girl.
old when that happened.
Yeah. I mean, 24.
People in the
not too old.
people who were in their 20s and graduating high school around the late 70s, early 80s, you're in your mid 60s now.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, you're Madonna.
You're Madonna. That's crazy.
Whatever her last name is.
Now my mom and dad are grandmas and grandpas, but they're also in their 70s.
Yeah, my mom's not. My dad is.
Your dad's in the 70s,
He is.
but your mom is not.
Not yet. He's hanging on.
She was young.
Next year.
He went after that young,
Right?
young tail.
He's like,
He was like, "Ooh,
I'm not doing any of this stuff. I'm
come
going
over
down a
here.
couple
You
years.
come here and you get some of this cull. We
Yeah.
call this the straight cull.
It's 2 years. 2 years.
I'll call that. Okay. Oh yeah.
I gotta drive home.
What instantly ruins a hamburger for you?
Blood.
Blood.
Like
Well,
an
yeah.
undercooked hamburger. Nothing's more disgusting than undercooked hamburger.
I'll tell you what
That's
ruins.
gross.
I'll tell you what ruins one for me. Shredded lettuce. In fact, shredded lettuce
Yeah,
on any.
I like a little leafy
Listen,
lettuce.
I like leaf lettuce. Shredded lettuce on any sandwich
No,
ruins.
shredded lettuce
the-
belongs on tacos and wraps.
I will take shredded lettuce on a taco. I will not take shredded lettuce on a wrap.
I
will
guess,
not.
I guess shredded lettuce on a sub's not bad.
Oh God, no! Oh, that's disgusting. That's sandwich again.
You don't
Once
get that
again.
on Subway?
No. I don't want
Oh,
that
you
on.
need
I
lettuce
don't. I don't want that on a sub.
That's good stuff.
But I don't want that on a sub. I'd rather have leaf.
I
I'd
don't-
rather have leaf.
That'd be weird to eat a sub with a leaf sandwich. I like a nice big chunk of leaf on top of a cheeseburger. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just that is delicious and a nice
Right?
crispy piece of bacon.
But it's not
Mixed
something you
with
normally
maybe
get
a
on
little
fast
squirt,
food, though.
little squirt down of the right smoky but honey flavored barbecue sauce. So
There
it's
you
got a
go.
nice little
Yeah.
sweet,
Maybe some onion rings on there.
little some onion. Well, I don't like them on my. I don't like onions. I'm not an onion guy.
Or
Are you an onion person? I'm not an onion person.
I'd put onions on stuff. Sure. Yeah.
I am not an onion person because I don't like the texture. And
I don't really like those
the
Western
smell
burgers
with
where
that
they put-
texture. Do not mix for me.
Yeah.
They just don't. I don't like that texture. But Jay, before we get out of here, I got one question to ask you, and this is important.
Yes.
What's the top historical event in history that you would want to see in person if you could travel back in time?
Oh, JFK for sure, 100%.
You want to see that happen?
I want to be there. I want to run around, find out what happened.
Oh, you want to be a part of the JFK assassination?
I want to lean around that fence and see. Is there a dude back there?
What about being
depository.
like I always seen that scene at the end of Lincoln with the Ford Theater, right?
Oh,
and
yeah,
I always
that'd be crazy
imagine
to
what
see.
it'd be to be like one of the patrons sitting down below when he jumps out and onto the stage and runs out, like how that would have felt to be there at that moment, and you heard the shot, and the president of the United States is up
in
there.
that booth, right?
He's up in that booth. Like, that's a crazy time period in history. And by the way, you got to realize too, this is a time period where you're very localized to who you are. So he's at Ford Theater. That's really local to Washington and the area where he lives
Yeah, it's
at
right
the time.
downtown.
And so, like, that's where all the people who live around Washington live, like Washington, D.C. live. Like, that's not people from Kentucky were hanging out with him, or he was hanging out in New York at this blah, blah, blah. No. He was at his local hometown theater when this man decided to kill him.
I've been in there.
That's crazy. And it's not a large theater.
No, it's really small. In fact, like the building's the same, but the inside burnt.
Oh, yeah,
There's
that's
only
right.
a couple of things that were saved from that actual time, but the building is the same.
Right. There it is, ladies. I personally always thought that'd be interesting. If I had to choose one, though, where would I like to be? Like, historical event.
Like, see it, like you're like, see with this question.
Well, okay. All right. Here's what I'll bring up. I'll say this. Okay. I would like to be there for the day. Once again, another assassination.
Yeah.
I want to be there the day that Caesar's killed, and the reason, and I'll tell you why. I want to see Brutus do it. The reason why I want to be there in the room when it happens is because I want to see because I know in 2023. We still talk about the Ides of March.
Yeah.
We still talk about it as a holiday. Like, we still discuss it. It has been thousands of years since our friend Julius Caesar. Like, when was Caesar? Maybe not 1,000 years.
Just a few BC, like
okay, so
35 maybe.
Okay,
that.
okay, so it's been 2,000. It's thousands.
Yeah.
It's been thousands of years since that.
Almost 2,100
But that
years.
story has reverberated for thousands of years through history. I want to be there that day because I want to see how big the Roman Empire is at that moment. And I want to go around and see how the story is reverberating to understand how this story lasted for that many years.
I wonder if it just smells.
Because, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not trying to be rude, but you have to understand something. Christ is zero, right?
Yeah.
Christ is zero. That means they wrote the Bible in less amount of years than Caesar was. Like, so Caesar had happened and it existed almost 800 years before the first time they even pick up a pen to write Bible stuff.
Yeah, he's been
at all
long dead.
Like, before Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John are written. Like, hundreds of years have already passed for Caesar.
Yeah.
That's a real historical, actual event that happened. They have, like, drawings and stuff of the time period. Like, this is crazy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to get out of here on this episode of the Qnow. I do love all of you out there. I want to thank Jason Colt for being on the show once again. I also want to let all of you guys know that we do have NASCAR coming up right now, as well as October is coming up, Jason. Haunted houses, ghost doors. We might have to get some stuff set up for September and October for the show. What do you think?
I think so.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us here on this episode of the Qnow. Check us out at theqnow.com. We will see you guys next time on KYRO.